We're 100 days from the election now, less than. I have a hard time believing the Wayfair thing based on the Russia. Mostly anything dealing with Russia, I have a hard time to believe.
You fill 1,700 pages, and maybe you'll want to write more of them. I mean, everything we're talking about, you could have a page and a half.
And maybe they'd read more of them too.
Yeah.
Because the long form discussion is taking over these news segments, are taking over these spoon-fed, prepackaged media sound bites that we get every day.
Media. Yep.
Do you think anyone on the left should have been blamed for this?
The insurrection?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the entire media.
And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
Hey everyone, Dave here, December 17th, 73. With me as always is Ryan. This is episode 68 of The Weekly Show, all the week's hottest topics with a twist. To catch all the episodes of The Weekly Show, be sure to like, follow, subscribe, whatever you gotta do. Facebook, YouTube, Rumble. Of course, if you're watching this video, like the video, super important. Comment below on the video, we'll comment back with you. Ryan may or may not have something to say, I'm not sure.
Pretty sure I had something to say. I could probably...
Camera a little.
I can scrounge.
Oh.
I can scrounge something up.
Do you or do you not have something to say?
I have something to say. I think we talked about last week or the week before Jack Dorsey saying that hyperinflation is here and it's going to change everything.
Mm-hmm.
I seen a meme this week. It showed a little grandmother outside in like a black and white photograph, and she was like beating the clothes with a fucking tennis racket or whatever. And it said, the meme said that you're gonna shortly learn why your grandmother saved all her aluminum foil and her baking grease. Now, for people who don't fully understand, if you never heard stories of older people, my grandfather, I heard stories in my family that they used to steal coal out of the train cars during the Depression. They'd crack open, or when they the coal would fall off the trains, they go run and grab it and bring it back, which they would get in trouble for. You know, like that was not something that was highly praised with kids stealing coal, you know, because everybody's poor. But I also remember a story that my mother's mother used to make her, because she was a Depression era person. When you get Christmas presents, you just kind of rip into it, you know, like you don't necessarily care about how you unwrap it. But my mom
neatly unfold it.
They'd have to, because she would save it for the following year, and they'd have the same wrapping paper for like 10 years, you know. And you kind of laugh it off. You kind of like my grandmother, some people do it too, right? But it's like you crack the pasta in half, right?
I do that.
Yeah.
I only do that because it fits in the pan better.
Yeah, they do that, but it's like my grandmother would always cut bacon in half too. You know, which normally you just get half cuts of bacon. Like, oh, what's the difference? It's like, no, they used to like take all the food and have it so that they'd have more for tomorrow. And it was just this whole idea of, I've talked on this podcast about how Jordan Peterson talked about the evolutionary need for delayed gratification, and it helped us think about tomorrow and plan our future, which helped us set the present to get there. And that's kind of, I guess, what I'm saying here with everything I've noticed. I also talked how gas is going up on the daily. We're always hearing about minimum wage, right, which is basically it stays stagnant, it's many years behind, or they try to get ahead of it, and all these other crazy whatever political spectrum you want to use to look at that idea. We're seeing prices change daily. So my minimum wage changing every few years, or my raise that I'm supposed to get once a year, none of that shit matters. Hyperinflation, we've also talked about the photographs of people wheelbarrowing money to buy bread. I'm not saying all this is going to come to a head, but I have been noticing the increase of everything. Everything's more expensive and more inconvenient to do. So, but it kind of just got me thinking overall. I talked a couple weeks ago about how globalism is inevitable, and as well of a job as I think I did breaking that down in a short time, there's so many holes. I was having a conversation this week about how no wonder nobody wants smaller government when the very systems that you go to school with are teaching you, like the system is teaching you to want more of the system. It's never going to get smaller if the very thing we're all going to public school and is teaching us that public education is a good thing. We can't even have an objective debate about that because public schools say it's child abuse. And they'll rally the whole arm of the federal government. This week in particular, we're seeing talk of ramping up of the federal government. And all I thought about this week was that we watched the death of the freedom of the internet. We've slowly watched the loss of religious freedom with the jab mandates and all these other things. We've talked about how they're overreaching with other things. But this week in particular, we're watching the death of private property in particular with a certain federal policy they're trying to enact. So these are the things I keep on thinking about. I know we cover very specific things here weekly, and we use them as a magnifying glass for a greater talking point. But yeah, I guess that's kind of my mind state on how I get ready for these shows, and I know some of this stuff will plug right into it, but I know we're watching the death of private property, and they have to steal your property before everything's so expensive, right? They are going to tie into each other. The economy and the death of private property have to piggyback into each other, because when the economy falls out, the government's going to rally and take everything from everybody and try to say that it's so we can distribute it and put where it's needed, and they're going to use the military or whatever the hell they're going to do.
And that is the actual definition of socialism. A lot of people throw that term around, but when the government steps in and takes over big wings of private enterprises, that's literal socialism.
I mean, I was also thinking of this, I'm going to compare our time frame with our founders' time frame. I know, and then we can get going, Dave. I know you got your outline here, but our government employs more people than the private sector. Okay, so this, here we do it, but we kind of romanticize, right? The taking down of your government, or trying to slow down the system, or uncorrupt it, or make it smaller, or make it more efficient. We romanticize it, right? There was a big allure with Trump, was that it was going to change the status quo in Washington, which is great. I'm not diminishing any of people doing that, but we do romanticize it because we understand that absolute power corrupts absolutely. But I was thinking of this as well. Our government's the largest employer in America. Employs more people than anybody. Okay? When our founders took over this plots of land and they won the War of Independence against England, England was the largest military and all that, but they didn't have an established apparatus of the largest government in the history of the world. You know what I mean? Government was small enough that when they overthrew it, they could still have the men and women trained and able to kind of sort it up and get it ready. We always talk about power vacuums, right? So I guess what I'm saying is the government's so big that even if we snap our fingers, make it super small and everything else, we don't even have enough people trained to take over the positions of government we need to keep the government running and occupying, so that we don't have a power vacuum. It's the very essence of corruption and the size of our government has made it incapable for the modern local people to do anything, because it's so big that the political machine is so big that you get crushed under just the sheer volume of how much things it's plugged into. So I'm not saying revolution is not impossible, but it's why we have to have conversations.
Yeah, it seems like it gets less possible, every day.
Yeah, I mean, especially that, I almost jokingly say it every week about, Orwell and 1984 and misinformation. And, I'm sure you'll have it in your thing. But there was a point that came up this week that I thought that, is contradicting what the White House is saying and other things. It's just
one of those times where we jump into these are extra bright right now, where we jump into what I call back-to-back or a double headline. Remember when I was talking a while back about Kamala Harris, how she sounded really presidential? Like she was ready to step in. Mm-hmm. Headlines. Biden claims reports of possible payments to illegal immigrants are garbage. The ACLU and media reveal he doesn't know what's happening in his own administration, the Biden-Harris administration. Headlines. This is after that. Biden now admits his administration is negotiating payments to illegal immigrant families that were separated at the border. It sort of sounds like He literally has nothing to do with any of this. Like things are happening and he's being informed after the fact.
Tell me your president is just a figurehead without telling me your president is just a figurehead.
Oh, that's the wrong one.
I mean, it was the joke, right? That the presidents are just puppets, right, for the corporate masters and all these overloads. We're literally seeing, this is literally what I'm talking about, that just the government in itself is so big that even the people we vote for can't fight how big and how corrupt the actual government is. If the government is they employ more people than the private sector. There's 300-something million Americans. I don't know how many of them have jobs, but let's say the government employs over half of those people, eligible people. I mean, we only elect like 500 people. You elect a few thousand people out of the government. Everybody else is just a contract or all these other things. Like, how are you going to beat that with representation? You're never going to do it. This is a prime example of this. And this is actually what I was talking about. Now, let's use the lens of misinformation. Now, any outlet that has reported about Biden, right? What if when Biden came out and said, I don't know anything about illegal immigrant payments, what if they went on the internet and erased all the articles that talked about it?
Yeah,
misinformation.
I'm surprised they didn't.
Yeah, it's possible. They said that they're going to be able to do it. It's a crisis and all. So, this obviously, like you said, David, shows the invisible hand, we'll say.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of two things, and neither are good. I mean, it's either he's not a part of his own administration, or he made the policy and forgot he made it. Both would be believable, but neither would be good.
I mean, come on, they have him doing photo ops in fake White House style press rooms, like a television set. Like, why can't he just talk to me from the real White House?
Is he even there? Do we know if he's even there?
Is DC a real place? Did I go to the real White House when I went to DC? Like, what are we actually doing?
Can we even prove that he's at the White House?
Probably not. It's not like remember when Trump would leave the one light on? Trump's watching TV. Remember when we talked about this? Trump's watching TV at 3 a.m, needs his rest to be president. This president apparently shit in his pants when he's going over to Rome and talking to the Pope, and we don't even know where he is half the time.
I don't know if we brought this up or not, but there was a report that he was on vacation more days than President Trump was. And he was out of the White House more days than President Trump, which the media was always pretty harsh on Trump about. And me personally, I mean, I don't know. Is that because Biden wants to be out on vacation, or is that because people got work to do and he needs to be gone?
Well, I mean, it shows like the failure of civics, right? Like if you extrude the terms out, they mean something, right? Like the executive branch is who you actually vote for, right? When you're that's what the president is, the executive branch. They execute what the legislature writes up, and those are also people you vote for because of our checks and balances and our system and the way it's supposed to go from the House of Representatives to the Senate.
That's how it's supposed to go.
President should be on vacation. Guy shouldn't have any fucking power. He should just be sitting around waiting for things to do from those who are elected by all of we the people. We the people is we the government. There's more of you than there is of us.
Yeah, I mean, you
guys have the largest special interest group in the creation of America. It's called government job. If just over broke, there's a saying, right, about what killed the far better people have spoken than me. I know this, but it's like an old term of like when the 20th century came around and we started working in factories and we weren't farmers being outside and being more nomadic style people. It was the saying that like the theft of the ambition of man and the creation of man was having a steady paycheck. Because if you have guaranteed money, you're not gonna come up with creative solutions on how to get to where you want to be in life, right? Like you won't open a business, you won't whatever. Be a bootlegger and do alcohol back in Prohibition, whatever it is, legal or not. Ambition that whole ambitious men of the 20th century and these mobsters, a lot, you hear it with gangsters now and drug dealers now is opportunity, right? There's more opportunity in selling drugs than there was trying to get. So I guess that's the whole point of that ambition. But I'll tell you, man, it's getting weird.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, there's a reason drugs are illegal, and it's not because they want to keep us safe.
Oh yeah, that's where I'm sorry. I just completely forgot and then remember. But yeah, so the government, they employ the most people. They are a special interest group. That's all that employment is. I'm seeing right now that they're going to have jab mandates for federal employees that work at the post office. I'm sure there's not going to be many happy people at the post office, but you know what? They're all going to line up and get shots. Because they're told to, because they're in part of the special interest group. They're in part of the very system that we're told that we're fighting against every day. You're the corrupt establishment, the racist, and all these other crazy things they tell us. They have all the people on their side to ensure that it will never happen. They're the largest employer. So keep that in mind when we're talking about all these jab mandates. And all these mandates is really just, like I said, death of private property. But if the federal government is going to mandate most, once again, the largest workforce, they have to do what they're told. You're going to do it too. You're going to have to. It's crazy.
We do have a temporary pause, at least. There was a federal judge that came out and ruled that they had to at least temporarily halt all of this. But, yeah, I was going to say the thing is, back to your point, too, about civics is, where does this all come from? I mean, why isn't this coming from the legislature?
Well, this even too, here in Western New York, we're not like keen, this happens in other places too, but we get snow here, right? So when it's a blizzard-like condition, they just declare state of emergency so they can have FEMA funding and all this things. So I understand it opens doors and it's helped and all this. It happens with hurricanes and tornadoes and earthquakes. It happens with all these natural disasters, floods. But when that stuff would happen, we were all like, yeah, oh, this makes sense. But we never, I now reevaluated, no, I'd rather not have roads than have tyranny. I'd rather starve than have tyranny. You know what I mean? That's now how I look at the state of emergencies, because they don't need the legislature. They just arbitrarily wake up and say, Remember Andrew Cuomo, Molester Cuomo, said that he was going to have power for a whole year, dictatorial power for a year and a half, and he used every day of it. Mm-hmm. And then Kathy Hochul claims another crisis on employment caused by some of the policies that were enacted under the previous crisis.
Yeah, that's weird. It's like he could have seen it coming.
I mean, it's going to be never ending. This will be a recyclable sign at this point. I mean, the jabs, they're saying if you're vaccinated, right, you get the jab, and then you wait the 6 months and then you don't get the booster shot, you're considered unvaxxed. So it's going to be weird. You just have to continually getting vaxxed. And this is another thing that I've seen this week in the timeline. It was a TikTok of a guy saying, I've seen this put other ways too, but he's like, remember when we would say that masks are going to turn into a vaccine mandate, and everybody said we were crazy, and ha, and you're crazy, and now we're here. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah, we've been saying it for a while too. It's one of those things. If you're paying attention, you see it coming.
I mean, I'm seeing on the timelines this week, somebody I know actually bought an old Nazi World War II passport paper, like a legit in German. And he said, when they start asking me for my vaccine mandate, this is what I'm going to show them. And I seen things in the timeline, and it was said, here's for the people who may have never seen one. Now, you and I were like, how could you have seen this? But people really don't understand what we're doing. People really don't understand what we're doing here. We've never had a virus with this level of technology yet. But all of the things we've implemented with government have been tried before.
This one here, I think we can file this under things I don't believe will actually happen. Headlines. Facebook to shut down its facial recognition technology and delete data on 1 billion people's faces. It's just going to delete all that data.
I thought nothing's ever deleted on the internet. Remember when they said cryptocurrency was untraceable, and then when the FBI gets raided, they're able to trace the money to wherever?
Of course they can
back
trace it. It's a transaction.
Yeah, there ain't no way. And it doesn't matter because Facebook's been hacked before. Do you remember?
No, they wouldn't.
Oh,
They wouldn't have possibly taken any of that data.
We have no idea what we've lost. Because once again, data was so not important that they were just buying it and selling it to all these people. And I'm sure they weren't organizing it and having it in little specific file folders and cabinets all over the place. I mean, they just built a multi-billion-dollar facility to house all of our data physically. The NSA did years and years ago. Told this is all a conspiracy. Yeah, of course. They're not. You're You're telling me to trust a corporation.
Well, I mean,
we don't even have privacy rights to facial recognition. It's not in the First Amendment or the Fourth Amendment. I don't have rights to biological matter. Remember, our government gives us rights. It's not in doubt by our creators. I told somebody one time, and I will always believe this. They have to trash talk our founding fathers, because if you start looking into them, you realize how off the walls our government is. And when it's not just our government, it's when all governments get to this level, they need to be taken care of.
Well, luckily, all the governments are just going to merge together.
Yeah, that came out this week. I don't know if you're going to segue into the climate crisis that we're apparently under.
No, but you can. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, all these people flew on their private jets. I'm glad I can't have I can't have a gas car, but these guys have private jets. They're all flying. They can't Zoom like you can. You can't drive your house. It's making the world a better place. But these guys can fly all over the freaking globe instead of Zoom calling. And then I got to hear Prince of Wales. Do you know what the Prince of Wales is, Dave? Do you know who these people are? Of course we don't, because they're all royalty. They're all ex-royalty. These people all come. Prince of Wales is a fancy way of saying a former associate and relative of royalty from the English family. It's all the Dutch and all these freaking crazy-ass royal people. They're getting up there. The guy even said I got a TikTok of it. 1 minute. He chopped it down perfect. The guy says he. He specifically says one person. If I had my phone, I would actually play it. But they're talking about how third world countries are too poor to get out of it, and they're impoverished by debt, so other countries basically are going to have to pay for it and all this other things. We're going to have a global board. It's going to be above global. It's going to be above governments from around the globe. This sounds like a new world order.
Something like that would require funding. Where would they get this money from?
I don't know. And some of the stuff along that might require voting at a global level somewhere.
That's weird. Well, luckily they'll have a nice minimum tax, global tax.
These freaks have been crafting global government underneath our feet for 100 years, at least 100 years. And I have specifically witnessed and documented this over the last 5 or 6 years of my life. And now I've finally seen it come full circle in 2020 and 21, that the Great Reset and Build Back Better and all these other things. And then these old vampire-looking creeps are up there talking about global government at a global stage to protect everybody. You don't even let me keep the things that I make. You don't even let me keep... The government sups my substance. Takes my substance. I'm going to believe in a global government. Yeah, because I can just fly around, because I have time to take it. There's one thing. I live 6 hours away from the Capitol building where all of my elected officials of the state is. That's highly inconvenient. Can you imagine if I had to take a plane to go, like protest my representative? If I had to fly to freaking Uruguay or something? I mean, I don't know what we deserve it. We deserve it because nobody cares. As the world gets more involved with our individual phones, and we're distracted there. They're just gonna, and that's why they're able to just do this in broad daylight. Nobody care, But I'm glad that there's people on TikTok chopping these creeps up and telling you what they're gonna do with this global government. Global government's here. It's happening. Globalism's inevitable.
If there is global voting, Ryan, hopefully it is. Even though our voting was very secure, the 2020 was the most secure election ever.
I'm just gonna say this before you go, Dave. I'm sorry. The whole carbon debate, we are carbon life forms. They want to get rid of you. Getting rid of carbon emissions and getting rid of carbon, the pollutant to the earth, is you. We're 100% carbon-based life forms. They will never stop. The carbon they're trying to eliminate is you.
I'm going to leave that one there.
They flew around on planes, and everybody you know had to just stay at home because of a little invisible thing that's killed with sunlight. These guys going to fly around in their jumbo jets. I'm sure they only have one person on that jet. I know they're not bringing up a family in their 30-seater private jet.
Or they better have good social distancing.
I got to hear from a 10-year-old girl who's got autism, doesn't understand anything. You know, there was a saying, children are supposed to be seen and not heard, and Greta Thunberg should be put on one of those melting glaciers and never heard of again. She's a child and doesn't know anything.
She's 18 years old, right?
Child. Still children.
Headlines. I'm just going to... New Jersey Democrat leader refuses to concede to the GOP truck driver, says thousands of ballots were recently found. This is a state Senate race in New Jersey. A truck driver beat this long-standing standing representative. And, well, he says, hold on now, we found some ballots.
Oh, now we care about election integrity.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, listen, he just wants a free, fair election like we got in 2020. And don't worry, he found some ballots. We're going to count them out. We're going to make sure.
Dude, what are you... I don't understand. Like, I always, when I hear stuff like this, I think about, like, what's next, you know? Like, what? Like, I don't...
What's next? Like, mail-in ballots in 2024 when 3/4 of the post office has resigned because they had to get vaccinated? Sorry, we couldn't get all those ballots to the polls.
You got to use your phone.
Our workforce quit.
You have to vote on your phone.
I guess you're going to have to vote on your phone.
That's weird. We got more votes than there is people in America. Oh, I wonder why.
Luckily, we got facial recognition, so just take a snapshot of your face so we know it's you voting.
We're going to delete the picture afterwards, though. Well, how are you going to know that it's me voting? Well, we hold on to it, confirm it, then delete it. But what if someone hacks it when it's... Oh, we have the most secure...
Don't question that. That's misinformation.
Do you remember? I remember like a few summers ago, the Chinese hacked into like whatever system it was with a bug that was like a computer bug that was the size of a grain of rice. In a shipping container. And like, you know those big boats that are stuck in the middle of the ocean right now with all of our shit that we can't buy? Yeah, what are those? A grain of rice in like... Talk about a needle in a haystack. Nah, I trust all these big apparatuses and these global organizations. I just seen the Oculus Rift commercial today, and I noticed that it's made by Facebook.
Oh, I didn't know. I did not know that.
That butts up real well with Meta, Dave, where I can just virtual reality near a wall and post something up on the digital environment.
Oh, that's wild. I didn't know that at all.
Let me out of this!
Oh man, that's bad.
Gary Vee was on Joe Rogan like 5 years ago talking about Facebook getting into TVs, and he's like, you're crazy. Nah, he wasn't crazy, bro. They're designing virtual reality, augmented reality. They're making the Oculus Rift. Have you seen the picture of Zuckerberg walking through the conference of everybody in VRs, and he's the only guy walking upright like a freaking person? Everybody's just stuck in this virtual... Dude, they read those books and get erections. This is like, these people know what they're doing. I gotta hear about global government, and I'm glad that the guy at the top is a man. I wouldn't trust a woman with the globe. Just trust guys a little bit more.
Yeah,
Oculus Rift made by fucking Facebook.
That's crazy. That I did not know. It comes in handy, though, now. I
can't wait to send care, and it's just like virtual hug. Oculus. Get that Oculus hug. Dude, when porn's on Oculus, no man is ever going to be out of his house.
I don't know if I should say
I know I know why women have to be men, because they know they're obsolete already. We're gonna have fuck dolls and Oculus Rifts. Like, guys don't even care about women anymore. We're gonna have like hotter robot girlfriends than you could ever like make with plastic surgery. You know, be taking her and be like, you're so funny. Be like, yeah, I can't wait to get you to the car, girl. You know.
What are they even gonna say about it though? Because I mean, if these people are pushing this idea that you can be whatever the hell you want, then I don't know. It identifies as a person, and then you can't say anything.
You know what's gonna be hilarious is when all these rich doctors get fuck dolls, you know, and they don't need women anymore, and then all these girls that are out there trying to sugar daddy are like literally, you know, their whole lifestyle comes undone and all these other things.
We're pretty much done with headlines, but I just didn't know if you saw this offhand since we're talking about it. Did you see the mother who was defending her son who raped a woman? And they were in the female bathroom, and he identifies as a woman. But her quote was, "You're 15," talking to the girl who got raped. "You're 15. You can reasonably defend yourself." Huh? That's weird. It's almost like men are biologically stronger, and she couldn't defend herself. Also, he shouldn't have been in there. Also, this is why there's a Second Amendment. Dude should have got shot. Not to promote violence or anything against rapists.
Oh man, if I ever have to follow a grown man into the bathroom after my kid, there's going to be severe consequences. I'm not a violent person, but I will become one. The things I would do to these people, man, is just fucking terrifying. Actually, speaking of bathrooms and creepy shit, Tim Kennedy put on his Instagram today. You know how they got those sensors that like automatic flush? He posted, he's like, man, nobody can tell me that there's not cameras and they're taking a picture of my dick, right? And then his second picture in the post showed a woman in the NSA who had over 2 million dick pics. That she was like an NSA worker and she was like able to like put them off and she was getting like,
she have body cams or something? Like, how did she?
I don't know. I didn't like read. I just seen like I thought it was funny. It's like, you can't tell me they're not taking pictures of my dick. It's like, yeah, very funny. Which obviously, like, I don't know, everything's possible. And then you swipe right and it's a girl's got 2 million dick pics from whatever.
That's weird. I thought they didn't like those.
I'm glad we're only employing women. You can just molest all the guys out there. We can rape all the guys we want. That's fine.
It could be worse, Ryan. You could have a male NSA.
Dave actually just sent me the thing this weekend that the Will Smith crying about Jada Smith cheating on him and it turning into like a viral meme about everything and jokes just proves that no one cares about the mental health of men.
I immediately thought of your closing segment the one day when I saw that.
Yeah, no, it's true though. It's just the thing we got to deal with, you know? Sorry, we were out waging war, and this is what we got to do now. We just got to wage wars in silence.
Oh, did that war not screw you up enough? Here, take some more mental abuse.
You know, actually, speaking of that, I'm not going to speak out of school and throw my family member under the bus. But one of my family members got in trouble for doing something in the bathroom, and you know how they caught him? They used a camera, and the camera was looking into the bathroom.
Should the camera ever be looking into the bathroom?
Oh, it's pedophilia! How is this not promoting pedophilia? Remember, these are the very institutions that were told that the whole system is bad. The system's telling me that I have to conform with the system to fight the system.
The same institutions that had men's strip tease dancing on top of teachers.
We're doing it to keep us safe. You have cameras in front of the bathrooms where little boys and girls go. It's to keep them safe. Trust the science.
Who's keeping them safe from you?
Yeah, I'm sure that, you know, that vice principal that has the secret code to the camera that I don't. I'm sure somebody's going to keep her in check with all of her boiling authority. You say you're done?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right. I got a couple things to go over. I already brought up hyperinflation, but keep it in mind, for real. In the climate meetings when they're openly talking about new world government, one world governments. So never forget this day. Globalism's inevitable. These people know what they're doing.
Just real quick to that point, though, at what point do we stop saying globalism is inevitable and start saying it's here?
We can start this week. Globalism's here. Enjoy the ride. Globalism's here. Thanks, Dave. Thanks for changing my statement around. Have you seen the Barstool Sports drama?
No.
Dave Portnoy. I don't know exactly. I don't know exactly what happened, but it came out around like the whole Aaron Rodgers thing. I think around that time.
Yeah.
But there was basically something with Dave Portnoy and somebody from Business Insider met, and they were going to talk and have a thing. And then the Business Insider released like a hit piece on the media. And Dave Portnoy was like, dude, what the fuck? You know, you guys are claiming all these things, you're doing opposite. Tim Dillon actually brought up a thing that he met with somebody to do an interview, and it was from Business Insider. They had a great interview. The guy sent him the interview and was like, yeah, dude, I had a great time and everything else. And then he got contact from that guy, and the guy said, yeah, they want me to write a hit piece about you, and I'm not going to do it, so our interview is not going to be released. And it's basically what they were doing to Dave Portnoy. So, yeah, keep an eye on that. That might get interesting. Dave Portnoy, we talked about him earlier this year when he was getting wrapped up with all the Robinhood scandal, and they basically prevented the little guy from capitalizing like Wall Street does all the time and have insider trading. So, FBI raided the home of James O'Keefe. He's the leader of Project Veritas, who is some would describe him as ambush journalism, which if you got to do it, you got to do it. It's over a diary from, I believe, somebody tied to Biden. I didn't really spend too much time about it. The important thing is that all this is happening around the very same time frame that we're talking about here. And so, yeah, I'm sure things will come. They're going to find something to indict him on. They can indict a ham sandwich in court if they really wanted to. So, there was 2 bills passed back to back 2 days in a row, which is really infuriating. What started my political campaign, I've talked openly, and I will always, about the NY SAFE Act and how Cuomo was a scumbag. I actually just told my father this week that it's very nice that all the people on the gun side of the debate saw through the lies and corruption of Cuomo, and it took almost 10 years to get him out of office, but we did it. Like the people that I affiliated with were just on the forefront of that push. So I'm glad that we were able to do that, and we did celebrate. So, but I bring that up because he did it in the middle of the night, and the reason they do literally at like 2 a.m. and the reason they do it in the middle of the night is so that most people are asleep, and the people that actually give a damn are still up reading about it, and they can't tell the people that don't care about it, be like, hey, you should care about this. That's why it's 3 a.m. Right? So 2 days in a row, the bastards down in D.C., I got to wake up to them self-grandizing themselves by doing their effing jobs and passing bills that I don't think we should pass anything. But the first one was the $1 trillion extra dollars to our national debt they want to add for infrastructure bills.
Yeah, keep tacking it on.
I can't wait to build back them highways better. We are never going to, you cannot tax your way to prosperity, people. We will never, these roads are going to be half built. What are you going to do when you start half building a highway? They run out of fucking building supplies. I can't even get glass bottles for coffee.
I was wondering that myself. Where are these supplies coming from?
Rebuild. You know what copper wire is going for right now? You know what steel is? My old job, I worked at a steel factory. We couldn't get people to drive the steel to the job site. What are we talking? $1 trillion. Good job. Can't balance the budget, though. No, we don't want it. We're going to tax the rich and just build roads with it. Elon Musk was under fire this week because they talked about how he could solve world hunger with so much money. And the very organization that called him out did a report earlier in the year of how much it would cost to actually solve world hunger. And it was more money than Elon Musk had.
Oh, that's weird.
Which we've said on this program. Dave, you actually told me this 10 years ago about how you could take all the wealthiest people's money in America, the top 100 wealthiest people, take all of their money and run the government for like 35 days. We don't have a wealthy people problem. We have the political machine crushing us like an anvil. So they passed the infrastructure bill literally at 3 in the morning. You know how I know it's 3 in the morning? Because I happen to actually wake up and see what time it was. I'm rubbing my eyes. and I gotta see a fucking news notification about an extra $1 trillion. And then I wake up the next morning, Nancy Pelosi's up there still shaking from her hangover, talking about how she's doing great things out here, building back better, in a state that had all the natural resources in all of America and is fucking bankrupt.
You know how you could get people to care about this? I mean this seriously.
What?
Pass a bill, instead of a tax, take it right out of their bank account immediately. Could you imagine somebody waking up with an overdraft fee? Like, the fuck? $600? What? People, it'd be out.
It just
There'd
says
be people
IRS.
marching to DC in the middle of the night, 4 a.m., asking for their money back.
Yeah, we'd be carpooling.
I don't know why people don't think about like taxes, because they come out at the end of the year and then they get some back and it gets lost in translation. But like they are literally taking it out of your bank account.
Well, that's the beauty of direct deposit, right? You just look at your phone. You don't see the breakdown, the itemized receipt to your fucking wages that they take hundreds of dollars. You work a whole month for free every year, and then I gotta hear about the rich. You're taking my money. You're taking my money. I barely pay anything. In the grand scheme of things, I barely pay anything. You know, because I can do a lot with an extra $2,000 every year. Now we got to build them fucking bridges and those schools to tell my kids to vote for more government. Oh my God, the cost of healthcare is ridiculous. Well, why is it so much? We just give it to everybody at a state mandate. Wonder why it's so expensive. There's never been once in the history of time that we've put prices on something and it was actually like, we've known this for thousands of years, man. Globalism's here. So after I wake up to them spending $1 trillion that, you know, we don't even have yet, but we're just going to fire up the printing press and devalue my money even more. So then I have to have another minimum wage increase.
That's weird. Where's this inflation coming from?
Hyperinflation. Don't listen to Jack Dorsey. Well, you listen to him when you go to combat misinformation. You'll go right to Zuckerberg and be like, hey, man, help us combat misinformation. But if Zuckerberg's out there saying, yeah, this doesn't look good, you're like, don't listen to him. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He's just one of the wealthiest guys ever. Don't listen to Elon Musk saying that you can learn everything on YouTube for free. He's a crazy kook. He makes flamethrowers. He only wants to just colonize Mars and fly the shit back here so I can drive a space moon ship on Earth. All right, so after I wake up on Friday night, which is technically Saturday, even though I get to see that it was yesterday. No, it was today, on Saturday. Glad there's daylight savings time to give politicians in Washington an extra hour to fucking backdoor deal me. Glad you let me sleep after you just stole another $1 trillion from me. Just take it from Elon. How much is Elon worth? Oh, like $900 billion. So he doesn't even have $1 trillion. Tax the rich. We're gonna tax all the rich that ain't even made yet. We should make Xi Jinping pay for all this. Xi Jinping, whatever that is.
He's not paying for shit.
I hate that guy. We should sniper him. Figuratively. All right. I mean, if we didn't have SEAL Team 6s, where would we be in the world, you know? So after I see that they spent $1 trillion, I wake up the following day to the Joe Biden administration thinking that they're going to tell businesses with less than 100 people that they have to mandate a jab policy, which you've already talked about that one federal judge has halted. Oh my God, one judge held up thousands? Yeah, just give it a couple weeks. This will slowly erode.
Yeah, he's going to find himself in a ditch.
Yeah. And once again, I only bring this up. I'm not going to get into minutia of the jab because every show is about the jab. But they passed that one in the middle of the night. It's got to be extra good if they didn't want to show anybody. You know, I thought of this.
Just make it 30,000 pages long. People won't read it.
Yeah, people can't even read you can barely read a news article, let alone a 10,000-page bill.
I wonder if there's anything in the infrastructure bill about vaccines. Be weird.
Oh, there's definitely.
I didn't read the whole thing.
There is definitely something in that bill about biologics or. Hell, for all I know, they're gonna have on every highway right next to a toll booth. They're gonna make me blow into a DWI and make sure I'm not high or drunk while I'm driving, and blow into the toll booth like a freaking straw, bendy straw. Are you vaxxed? Proceed. I've already told you guys in my home state here how all the toll booths are now cashless. Yeah, we're gonna have them all across the state. They were supposed to be removed. You're supposed to take them out. Yeah, we took them out and replaced them with robots. Build back better and all. You know, it's crazy. Never mind. I'm not even going to get into the So, yeah, they passed that jab bill in the middle of the night, too, which was awfully nice of them. I really appreciate them, talking about these things. I get to have them go to bed that these guys are assholes to each other, right? Like, oh, them Republicans and Democrats. And then they wake up and they're like, yeah, good job, everybody. Thanks for coming into work today. Did real good. Good work for America. I already said it, but I'll say it one last time. The mandatory vax mandate, the jab, is the death of private property, the death of private business, and this is because think about it. I've said it before. All those people most of the jobs you go and work for that are big jobs that pay a lot of money are corporate jobs that employ over 100 people. So this is how they take prosperity from you. This is how they remove. This is the new caste system. This is how they remove ladders to the rung of economic freedom and mobility. Yeah, I think that's all I have right here. Oh, Aaron Rodgers. We'll finish up with this. Aaron Rodgers on the Pat McAfee show. Pat McAfee, people don't know, he played for the Colts. He was like a punter and a holder for Vinatieri or whatever. He's got a great podcast. He smokes cigars and says fuck a lot. It's awesome. And he talks sports.
He is a hilarious individual.
Oh, it's fantastic. He's all hyped. It's funny. Like he's got ADHD, but like you can just tell he loves the sport, loves football. You can tell these football player guys never grow up. But he's got his friends around. It reminds me a lot of just like you and your boys, spitballing sports, But he's got all the insiders, the connections. So he's been having Aaron Rodgers on for months now. He was on around the time of when Aaron Rodgers in the beginning of the season came out and basically told the whole organization they can pound rocks. And then he was on there. Aaron Rodgers tested positive for COVID. Apparently he went to a Halloween party without a mask on.
Gasp.
Now, I don't know everything. I'm not going to act like I know everything. I bring it up for a couple reasons. I've talked on this program about how athletes are literally like the 0.00001% of people. They should be idolized. They are modern day Achilles and Hector and all these warriors of old. There are modern mythology as far as figures that you want to be. God forbid that we have something that goes against the federal narrative, which is what really they're doing here with Aaron Rodgers, and that's why they're attacking them. I saw today on the NFL that they were basically shit-talking him, and they were saying that shame on him and all these other things. He's selfish, all this other stuff. Now, I'm just going to copy and paste this with the Colin Kaepernick thing. Right? Remember when people were saying Kaepernick was selfish, Kaepernick was this, Kaepernick was that? It's the same thing, man. He's using his platform. He's using what he believes. He's standing on his things. Aaron Rodgers said it. Everybody in the office knew how I wasn't vaxxed. I was very open about it. I followed all the protocols. And you know what they said on the NFL today? They have cameras everywhere, and they're going to be watching. And if he broke protocol, we're going to fine him. I thought the cameras were for safety. I didn't think cameras were going to be used arbitrarily to take my money and to spy on me. And then I have to defend something that I'm not even going to remember. You don't remember what you do. You don't remember how you walk in a room. Aaron Rodgers is saying it. I followed all the protocols. He probably remembers that, but they're going to get him. They're going to get the technicality. I thought cameras were for my safety. That's why you put them on all the red lights, right? That's why you spy on me and how fast I drive, right? It's for my safety? Oh, now you use it. You use it now to measure my speed and send me a ticket in the mail. Oh, you blew through a red light. I thought it was for our safety. Oh, no, we're going to send you a ticket. They're showing you their strength, man. They'll show you what they'll do. They'll leverage your economy, your household, and your lifestyle against you. Aaron Rodgers, just like Cole Beasley, is literally fighting the whole NFL right now. The whole entire sports media apparatus. The Super Bowl is watched by a third of America. It's the largest events that we hold publicly that people care about at a mass. Like almost every demographic of people watch the Super Bowl in large quantities of people. That's why it's so critical when they have these political things. That's why it's so critical. That's why Trump made a big deal about it. He understood the optics the NFL provides for people in the real world. Most people, I've always said I don't talk sports and all this shit. You know, I talk religion, history, politics. I started talking sports so that people didn't have to talk to me about stuff that I wanted to. So I didn't have to control conversation. But I still, to this day, I still don't understand why guys talk sports. But I do it, but I still don't understand when there's so much more important stuff going on. And that's what makes it so important when these people come out and speak out against these organizations. So, you know, he was John Wick for Halloween, and now he's got to be John Wick in the social space. And he had a great quote, which I love, because it's how we always talk about it here. He said that people on the left are going to claim that he's anti-vax and hate him, and people on the right are going to say that he's doing this and fighting the system, and they're going to hold him up as a pinnacle of freedom. And he basically said, I don't care about either one of you. You know, I'm going to just live my life. I'm going to do what I do. And that's what I'm trying to, you know, it's like I said, these athletes, when you look at their rich, I've looked at some of these guys' workout routines. You know, they always said about Cam Newton's up at 5 a.m. And, you know, if more people did that, we wouldn't need government assistance on anything, because people would be so motivated to get things after themselves. So, yeah, I'm going to segue into Decembertainment here. I don't know the name of the cartoon, so I'm going to ask you, David. It's on Netflix, and it's about, like, horny children. Like, they got, like, a sex animal. It's like it looks like Where the Wild Things Are, and it's like their sexual... Oh.
I don't know what the hell you're talking about, but that should not be on Netflix.
All right, you got to Google it while we're on air then.
You want me to Google
Netflix
cartoon children?
No, just Google raunchy Netflix cartoons.
Is it? I don't know. You really want me to Google that, huh?
I asked my nephew and stuff the name a couple times. I couldn't remember. I got a little fucked up this weekend. So I was up late and everything. Played some Magic this weekend. Dave, you ever get into Magic?
No. Okay, so I know F is for family is incorrect, because I like F is for family. I know what it's about. Big Mouth?
Yes, that's the one. Click on it, read the synopsis.
Big Mouth. All right, let me check.
Dude.
Big Mouth.
Holy fuck, bro.
All right, this is off to a good start, because I wasn't aware of anything about the show, but I feel like I need to start watching it. Nick Kroll, hilarious. John Mulaney, hilarious. Jason, I don't know how to say his last name, but I know the guy from a fantasy football comedy that was on FX a while back. So let's
My God. Oh my God. Big Mouth, is that what it's called?
Yeah. Okay. Let's read this here. Let's see. The Big Mouth is an American adult animated coming-of-age sitcom created by Andrew Goldberg, Nick Kroll, Mark Levin. I'm assuming not that Mark Levin. And Jennifer Flackett for Netflix. The series centers on teens based on Kroll and Goldberg's upbringing in suburban New York, with Kroll voicing his fictional younger self. Big Mouth explores puberty while embracing a freakness about the human body and sex. The series follows a group of teenage 7th graders, including best friends Nick Birch and Andrew Glauberman, as they navigate their way through puberty with struggles like masturbation and sexual arousal, all in the Westchester County suburbs of New York City.
Dude, they talked about edging, and the kid had a wet dream in front of people.
What? Ryan's Decembertainment is just him dying of laughter.
Holy fuck, dude. Now, those who know me personally know that, like, this is, like, my kind. This is literally how I am all the time. You know, like, this, I'll say just unfiltered is easy to put it, but, like, raunchy comedy, say inappropriate stuff, make fun of, like, the whole, this thing, like, is, like, it's, like, checks all my boxes with my personality traits when it comes to humor of, like, I don't find anything offensive, you know, like, all this just crazy and dirty jokes. But, dude, I was like, what in the fuck is on TV? Watch it. It's hilarious. Don't do it sober either, because it's even better. Have some scotch or something in you. God, Lord have mercy on us, man. Oh my, it's so funny. The art is kind of like the old school. Like, it looks like it's hand drawn, even though I know with animation it's physically. The reason things aren't hand drawn anymore, for anybody that cares about this nerdy stuff, animation's too fast now. Like, they physically can't they can't draw it on paper like they used to do to Tom and Jerry cartoons. So they hand render stuff still, and they'll draw digitally, but it's a lot faster. It's not the same process. But I really appreciate modern cartoons that give the art style of that older, like that, it looks like it's hand drawn, like that old, like old Disney movies. When we watch those, they have that like veneer, and it's because it was hand done. Or like painted on glass, which was something they did in the very early days to get like 3-dimensionals. They paint things on glass and just film it straight on, so it would look like the forest had depth. And it's because they physically would paint trees behind each other. So a lot of those cool old school techniques, now that we have technology, obviously that's kind of removed, and the creative aspect isn't there because you have all the tools that make it easy. Yeah, art style is cool. The story is fucking hilarious. I saw about 5 or 6 episodes of the 5th season, which I think is the newer one. And I guess that's where it gets even more like dirty and like, God, it's hilarious. It's good. Check it out, people, if you want like a nice raunchy comedy. It kind of helped me. I spent another personal Decembertainment here. Hung out with, I had family members and they were on COVID protocol. Everybody's healthy, thank God. They said it sucked. One person was vaccinated and they got sick.
Breakthrough.
Yeah, and then just rare case, rare breakthrough. And one of their kids got it. She's an older high schooler kid, and everybody's healthy. They quarantined, but there was more people in the house, and none of them got it. It was only the girls. So 3 out of like 9 people, I'll say, that were contracting it. Everybody's healthy, happy, thank God. It sucked though, because you know we talked about this. Everybody talks about it now. Let's get back together. To go through quarantine, my kid, it's my brother and his family. They have a lot of young kids, and I have my young kids. So we always try to get together and have family time, and that was not able to happen for about 2 months. So it was rough, but I'm glad everybody's safe, and we went over there, and they actually had this on TV late at night. We're playing Magic, drinking some beer, just having good family vibes, you know, and this thing's on. I'm like, what is this? You know, I've never heard of this show. I've never like, and it's hilarious. It was a good time. You know, yeah, so I'll call it there. I appreciate everybody watching, tuning in. It's Dave and Ryan, December 1773. We drop Monday Eastern, 7 p.m. Yeah, like, comment, subscribe, live chat, doesn't matter. Comment on the video during the premiere. I will be there. Dave will be there. We look forward to interacting with you. Rumble, YouTube, Facebook. You can follow Dave on Instagram. I'm on Instagram. Yeah, I guess till next week. Thank you, David. Thanks, everybody. Stay healthy. Stay safe. The Bills let me down today. But, yeah, I feel like I was going to send something else. Some good vibes off. Something else. I don't remember. I don't know. I'll remember next week or when I'm watching this. But until then, David, thank you. Thank you, everybody else. See you.
Thanks. See you, everyone.
Let's go, Brandon.